The following video is rated 18 plus and up. That means if you're not of age, kiddo, then would you kindly, please, piss off. Hey! Hi, how you doing? Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays! This is Ryan, and welcome back to a very festive Gamertron Show video. So, of all the videos I thought I could possibly be uploading on Christmas Eve, a Subverse content update review video was not one of them. But then again, I guess it kind of tracks. So I guess sit back, relax, and let's talk about the silly, funny, sexy, space waifu hentai game. Almost a week ago, Subverse got its 5th major content update in early access. This massive new content update brings with it a long-awaited addition to the waifu roster for U2, romance. The continuation of the main story quest, which includes a mountainous amount of new cutscenes, dialogue, new unique set-piece gameplay sequences for both the shoot-'em-up space combat and the turn-based ground combat sections. Tons of new side quests, memes, parody, lewd and crude, jokes galore. And finally, a lot of new sex scenes. So the long and short of it, penis. If you like Subverse, this update is of course more Subverse. With the exception being this may be the best goddamn content update in the game thus far. So if you're a fan of what came before, you'll be happy to hear there's even more. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty titties, shall we? First off, I have to applaud and commend Studio Foe on this content update. In terms of overall story content, referring to cutscenes, dialogue, plot progression, this is Subverse's biggest update in early access yet. Dear Lord in heaven, we got so much story content, so much character development, backstory reveals, drama, oh, so much drama. The complete upheaval of the status quo, and the plot twists, oh my god, so many plot twists. I can safely and confidently say that Subverse's story, its plot, its characters just keep getting better and better as the game progresses. Now make no mistake, the game is still a comedy, it's still parody, it's still not taking itself seriously, for the most part. But when the game does take itself seriously, when it embraces the drama, when it leans towards more of a serious tone, it's surprisingly engaging, compelling, and entertaining. Now, of course, with these content update review videos, I want to keep spoilers to a minimum so you can experience this content for yourself. So, no explicit details. But obviously, with this content update being called the Fortune Update, it's no secret that the waifu character Fortune mostly takes center stage. And we will talk about and praise everything about her in just a moment, but for this portion of the story, almost every character, whether they be waifu, side character, or villain, almost every character in the game gets a moment to shine. It's impressive how Studio Foe is able to juggle the focus of the story between all these different characters. Despite how absurd and raunchy the writing can be, there is still nonetheless an admirable and commendable amount of intelligence behind the writing, the narrative structure, the plot development. I mean, for God's sakes, I got emotional! I got sad playing this content update! Of course I won't spoil the reason for it, but something happens that I wasn't expecting this game to do! Despite still being its ever-silly self, the moments where the game took itself seriously and provided more personal, relatable stakes to the characters, it got me emotional! I can't lie! God, I wish I could go into greater detail, but I don't want to spoil anything. There's such great character development for the captain, for Fortune, for other members of the crew. There's this brand new character they introduced that I want to talk about, but I fucking can't because it fucking spoils shit. Look, let me put it to you this way. In all my other Subverse content update videos, the segments where I talk about the story have usually been the shortest. For this video, the story segment is taking up the majority of the runtime. And if I went full in-depth into spoilers, I could easily spend another 10 to 20 minutes talking in detail about why this chapter of the story is so goddamn good. And this is a hentai parody game, man. You know how one of a kind this is? Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about the star of the show this update, the new waifu, well, technically old waifu, but now she's finally romanceable and has actual gameplay. You know what I mean. Fortune. voiced by Iris Harmon. Now, Fortune has been an integral part of the story since the very beginning. She's the one who convinced the captain and has been helping him assemble this team of waifus after all. But actual details of her as a person have been scarce and vague. Besides being mostly no-nonsense and hating the captain, we didn't know that much about her until now. With this content update, she was phenomenally fleshed out and developed as a character. I'd love to go into specifics, but those would be fucking spoilers. What I can say is this. Her voice actress, Iris Harmon, gives a masterful performance. She embodies the character. When the serious, dramatic scenes hit, god damn does she deliver. A tremendous performance from a stellar actress, an exceptional professional.
You know, we never talked about how this whole revolution thing began.
I can't remember the exact moment, but I remember what I was doing when things started to change for me. I was planning a bank heist one day, and I was going over the ranges of their security camera systems. Naturally, one thing led to another. I tried a new camera feed, this time outside the bank. Then another one, this time down the street. Then another one inside a shop. I guess you could say I developed somewhat of a curiosity for observing. At first, I just hacked and cycled through random feeds throughout Prodigium, switching channels until I found something I liked. Sometimes I came across something horrible. I saw the Imperium's corruption and how it made people suffer. What really got me was how much suffering there really was and how far it reached. Did you know that the galaxy doesn't even know about half the Imperium colonies? They keep everything under wraps until the settlement is deemed to be successful. But a lot of them never make it that far. If one fails due to some horrible mismanagement or even a natural disaster, the Imperium cronies at Kuso cover everything up, just so that people's faith in the Veil isn't shaken. You need to understand how my mind works, Captain. I always think in terms of logic and math. And an equation started forming in my consciousness. How many people did the Imperium hurt every day? How many did they kill? And what about the ones we don't know about? I'm not even talking about those colonies. I'm talking about regular, everyday citizens who disappear and are never seen again. The number astonished me. It fucking haunted me, man. I'm ashamed to say it, but I tried really hard to ignore it at first. I just didn't want to accept that it was happening. And I really didn't want to accept that I had the power to change it.
So that's when it started.
Iris, even though you're retired from social media, if you're listening, know that your effort, your hard work, your passion is deeply, deeply appreciated. No one else could have brought Fortune to life the way you did. So I'd like to hope that I speak for everyone here when I say thank you. I hope you're doing well and keeping safe. Happy holidays. Well, I think it's about time we talked about Fortune's gameplay, shall we? Fortune is another ranged waifu, who has several advantages when fighting mechanical adversaries, namely the fuckbots. She also has some very useful support and healing abilities. But her passive perks and her ultimate attacks are where things get really interesting. She deals more damage depending on how much adrenaline she has stacked. Interesting new use of that mechanic. Her passive teleport lets her path through other units, which is huge in terms of positioning. Opens the door for so many new tactics and strategies. Her last passive, Cleanse, at the start of her turn remove all debuffs afflicting her and any friendly units within a 3x3 radius around her. God damn! That is huge! And that is really fucking good, especially with those enemies that apply constant annoying debuffs. And when it comes to her ultimate attacks, specifically Hard Light Arsenal, there's a very interesting mechanic behind this. Target an enemy for single target damage or target self to charge the attack. The charge attack can be unleashed next turn, causing cone AoE damage in the targeted direction. Taking an additional turn to charge your ultimate attack? Again, another new interesting mechanic. Something that helps Fortune stand out from the rest of the waifus while providing an interesting mechanic that could be possibly expanded on in the future. Now, when it comes to the secondary weapon that Fortune provides in space combat, it's simple, but pretty cool, and totally unique from the rest of the waifus. Holographic drones, aka mobile turrets. Spawn 2 holographic drones that require energy from the Phoenix to operate. Drones fire homing missiles if energy is above 50%, non-homing below 50. Drones will deactivate by clicking the secondary fire input again, or if the energy is too low. Where all the other waifu space combat secondary weapons require a combination of energy management, positioning, and aiming, Fortune's only requires energy management. Definitely provides a unique new feel and twist to space combat. Also, the special particle effects for when the holographic drones activate and deactivate just look really fucking cool. Just wanted to throw that in there. However, besides our new wonderful waifu, Fortune, there were other gameplay additions as well. We got 2 new Mantics to add to our mutant army, Itchy, a new ranged unit who's all about causing the knockback effect on enemies. He also has a very powerful ultimate attack. And Sakalo, a new melee unit and our first Mecha Mantic. He has a mechanic that's all about draining adrenaline from enemies, which is pretty cool and very useful. I'd say given their properties, they are 2 must-have Mantics. Finally, we have the new enemy faction, the Requital. And I'll say this right off the bat, I love space combat against the Requital. Their spaceship designs, easily some of my favorites in the whole game. And the variety of different projectiles from their space units provides a really engaging and satisfying challenge for me. Made me feel like I was playing a bloody bullet hell shooter. An absolute test of your spaceship combat skills. Their units in ground combat are serviceable, although I would argue that the Cloy and the Imperium factions do put up a bit more of a challenge. However, the Requital boss battle that you face in this chapter of the story was fucking brutal. He killed me over and over and over again. I had to try so many different combinations of Mantics to finally take him down. I don't know if it's a skill issue on my part or if that boss requires a bit of retuning. God, that boss was tough as balls. Now, last but certainly not least, we have all the new Pandora sex scenes starring Fortune. And I gotta say, they're surprisingly tame compared to all the other scenes for the other waifus that came beforehand. As someone who is as basic vanilla milquetoast as I am, it was somewhat refreshing having to take a look at the Pandora scenes this time around and not being greeted by a bunch of kinks and fetishes that just aren't my thing. I can safely say that with Fortune's collection of Pandora scenes, I was the least uncomfortable this time around. Well now, that's mostly all of the new content in the Fortune update. For Subverse, in early access. Studio Foe, you guys have done an absolutely fantastic job this time around. Such a great update with such great story content. I hope all of you will go and check it out and experience it for yourself. Studio Foe has had a rough year with Subverse. From controversies to layoffs. Dick puns aside, it's been a long, hard road for them, and they need and deserve all the love and support they can get. Be sure to check out Subverse on Steam, follow the cast and crew on social media, and stay tuned for future content updates for the game and from myself. Anyways, that's been a video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did indeed like the video, please be sure to hit the like button and share the video on social media, Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. If you perhaps want to help me and support me directly, please consider making a super thanks donation here on YouTube. Anyways, once again, that's been a video. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you all later.